Life Audio.
Welcome to the Team Us podcast, where we share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together. Hey everyone, we're Ted
and Ashleigh Slater. If you're parents like we are or hope to be in the future, this episode is for you. We're sharing 3 practical ways you can stay connected as a couple while you parent. All right, Ted, before I jump in to this episode, I have to talk about something I mentioned last week. I'm going totally off script.
Okay. I like going off script.
Yes.
It can get weird.
Shamed Starbucks for getting rid of the pumpkin scone.
I remember that. However, I think your heart has been adjusted.
I have recently tried the pumpkin muffin with cream cheese, and that is a very close treat.
And all the guys that were listening to this episode have tuned off. Go on to a car.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
Now that I have said that.
Yes.
Okay, so a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
I had a free evening, and I think I was one of the few people home.
Uh-huh.
And so I decided to watch The Incredibles 2.
Right.
And my favorite part of that film are the scenes where Bob, or Mr. Incredible, is parenting.
Aww.
And Helen, or Elastigirl.
Having a difficult time.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Helen, or Elastigirl, join the club, is off on superhero missions.
Mm-hmm.
And Bob is essentially single parenting 3 kids, a teenage girl, a 10-year-old boy, and a baby. And some of the parenting struggles he faces are so relatable that they're hilarious.
Yeah, you're going to have to remind me. It's been a while since I've seen it. I do enjoy the franchise.
Okay. Well, so he's navigating the teen girl's emotional ups and downs. Remember, she likes Violet. She likes that boy, but then they erase his memory.
Oh.
And she's supposed to go on a date with him, but he doesn't remember who she is. And so then so he stands her up because he doesn't remember. And so then Bob is trying to fix the problem because he realizes, they erased his memory.
Okay.
So he finds out where the guy is a waiter.
Mm-hmm.
And they go there for dinner, but they don't tell her that he's the waiter. And she has a moment where she shoots water out her mouth or nose or something.
Embarrassing herself.
Right. So it's the dad.
Does he find it adorable?
The boy?
Yeah.
He just still doesn't know who she is.
Oh, okay.
She's just this girl from school.
Well, I may need to watch that again.
Yeah. But it's the dad struggling with teenage girls' emotions and trying to fix problems in a way that she might not necessarily appreciate.
I've been there.
Exactly.
Hey.
Well, your dad, you have currently have 3 teenage daughters.
I do.
There's the hyperactivity of a 10-year-old and trying to help him with his math homework.
Right.
And as Bob, which Bob doesn't understand, he's like, why did they change math? Because I think it's on the Common Core.
Yeah, that was a thing, 10 years ago. I think they've come to their senses a little bit with math. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know, but it's funny.
Yeah.
Because I think we've both been there trying to help kids with math homework and then going, wait a minute, I don't remember how to do this.
I used to know this. I used to be so smart in math.
Yeah, you and your slide rule.
Yeah, I was a little geek.
Can I admit, you have mentioned your slide rule for years, decades.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what a slide rule is.
Okay, I will explain it to you. I'll find a YouTube video or something after our discussion here.
Okay, so that's my confession. I've been listening to that story and nodding and have never once said, what is that? Or maybe I have and I forgot. Okay, and keeping up with a baby who won't sleep and stay in the crib, because this is where they discover, they discover he has all these powers.
Oh, yeah. He's a dangerous little one.
Right, but it's hilarious.
It is. Danger is funny.
Yeah. Well, in this case.
Okay.
It would not be funny if your child really could
burst into flames
and multiply and, go through glass when teleport to fight raccoons.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Right. Well, it's been out for a decade, probably. Okay. So while Elastigirl is off on adventures most of the film, The Incredibles 2 is still a story of a couple working together to raise their kids and stay connected to each other.
Aww.
And on this episode, we're talking about parenting and how couples can stay connected during all the parenting phases. So according to experts, there are 4 parenting phases. 1, the discipline years, which is from ages 0 to 5.
Okay.
2, the training years from 5 to 12.
All right.
There's a little bit of overlap with the ages. 3, the coaching years from ages 12 to 18. And 4, the friendship years starting at 18 plus.
It's interesting. The cutoff between training and coaching is kind of where I think Jewish people have like bar mitzvahs and bad mitzvahs, when the kids are recognized as entering a new phase of life as more as an adult.
Yeah. There was some show we were watching where the son he went to a bar mitzvah and then he came home and he's like, what? It was the middle. The middle. And he was like, well, don't we have any sort of passage?
Oh, right.
I don't remember what they ended up.
A lot of cultures do, but like our culture, the one that you and I have, which is whatever.
Right.
We don't have anything like that.
No. I mean, we don't have boys, and that seems to be more of I guess they do it with girls.
They do.
Too.
It's a bad mitzvah for females and bar mitzvah for guys.
Huh. Interesting.
Huh?
Okay. I think at the end of the middle episode, another spoiler, his dad, who always wears flannel shirts, gives him a flannel shirt.
Oh,
now you're a man. Something
now
like
you're
that.
A man.
Yeah. But we're currently in the coaching years with 2 of our girls.
Mm-hmm.
They're 13 and 16, and friendship phase with the other 2 who are 18 and 20.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, it's a super fun phase to be in.
It absolutely is. Yeah.
Like, what are some of your favorite things about the parenting season?
At the end of the day, our oldest girl, she and I just talk. She talks about this. It's not an argument. I think.
Why would you assume
we have
it's
had arguments?
Okay.
Like, I've seen things one way and she's seen things another way, and I try to explain and it doesn't go well. But now we have discussions and it's just kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I think there are a lot of resources out there for how to parent kids through these phases and what our relationship with our kids should look like.
But you're saying we should throw them all away and listen to this podcast?
No, keep interrupting me. Let me finish.
I'm a little squirrely.
But okay. As I was saying, yes. I think there are a lot of resources for how to parent kids through these phases and what our relationship with the kids should look like. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if there are necessarily a ton of resources on how marriage dynamics change in each phase and the best way to stay connected as a couple in the different phases. Conversation. Yeah, well, after this short break, we're going to share some of the things that we've learned about staying connected in all parenting phases. Are you ready to talk about 3 of the things?
Ready, Teddy.
That I think we've learned?
Yep.
And if you think of others, feel free to add them.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Okay, so the first one is be flexible yet intentional with time together.
Be flexible and yet intentional with the time together. So make plans to do something, but if it doesn't work out, figure out a way to do it later on or something like that? What are you talking about?
Not exactly.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a good principle for life. But I think it's important for us, like as couples, to understand and anticipate that time together changes as we enter different parenting phases.
Got it. Okay. I remember when we were very young parents, when our first was just like, we would tuck her in bed at 7 and then we'd stay up and watch like 4, we'd binge watch 24. We'd like watch 4 episodes at a time.
We actually had 2 kids at that point.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. Or Sue Thomas, FBI.
Right. So during those discipline years, and then even into the
all evening to ourselves
training years, a lot of our date nights we would put the kids to bed. We'd sit down. We'd make some fun food or get takeout.
Crab cakes.
Yeah. We would watch something together.
Something.
Like that. Story. Yeah. That was our way of connecting. I think some of it was, it's expensive to get a babysitter. Mm-hmm. So we would sometimes get a babysitter. Mm-hmm. But it was just a really good time for us to do that. But now that we're in the coaching and friendship ages, that's not the best way for us to connect anymore. As you said, sometimes you and our oldest will have discussions at night.
Right. You wake up at 5:30 and go to sleep a little earlier than I do.
Yeah. Well, and when you have teenagers, most of them kind of become alert and active and talkative at night.
10 or 11 at night.
And a lot of the stuff we watch now, we watch with them.
As a family. Mm-hmm.
So it's changed. So we have had to, and I think, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like it took a little time to realize we were in that transition or that had changed and to
Embrace
go
it.
with it. Yes. To figure it out. Like now we don't need a babysitter.
Mm-mm.
So we can do date nights every week. And so that's been a good way to connect, or just figuring out, how to chat during the day since we're both at home all day.
Right.
Yeah. So we've had to be flexible and just go with it. But I don't think that is something I remember hearing. Like I remember hearing, oh yeah, your teenagers will want to talk at night. Like I've heard that, but I haven't heard the,
So how does that affect what you do at night?
Yeah. Or how does it affect your marriage?
I mean, if you continued with what we did in the first 5 years of marriage, we'd be like, hey kids, I know you want to talk, but leave us alone. It's mommy and papa time.
And then we would miss opportunities.
Right.
So I think it's been interesting to kind of figure that out. And I think during that time when we were kind of figuring out, oh, it's changed, because sometimes I'd be like, it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to bed. And you're like, really? I just came down, From working. Right. So I think we've had to have lots of conversations too, where one of us says, I don't feel connected right now. We need to change that. Or, hey, stranger.
Right. Strangers in the night.
Yeah.
Exchanging glances. Passing ships.
Very nice. All right. Number 2.
Yes.
Support each other's parenting strengths and ideas.
I think you had talked about this earlier. Remind me what that means.
Well,
for example,
I think that it's hard to stay connected with someone who doesn't support you as a parent. Like, I know I have a few people in my life that I feel
they question
or undermined, and that hurts my connection with them.
Right.
I mean, you don't do that.
No, I try not to.
And I have like a lot of crazy ideas on how to support our daughter's interests. And normally it involves a road trip.
And money.
Or an event or outing.
and money.
Yeah, and money. And if we can financially swing it, you support me on it.
Right.
And you often come up with ideas on tools that can help our girls, such as like a 3D printer. We are just talking in unison today. Or, air conditioning our garage so we could create a craft area in it for them.
It's a bit messy now, but we'll tidy it up and it'll be more inviting.
I keep trying.
Yes, you do.
I do. But for some couples, it's not an outside person being unsupportive. It's their spouse. And I think it's possible for couples to be unsupportive either in subtle or obvious ways in each phase. And I think that hurts connection. I mean, I have seen it happen in certain seasons of our marriage where like I have had to learn to support you in your parenting strengths and ideas, like, and not shut you down. Like we went through I think we hit a season where you were like, will you stop shutting down my ideas?
Right. Because sometimes I'm brainstorming. I'm not prescribing that we do something. I'm like, what if, I don't even remember now, but I'd have some outside the box idea. What if we get them, Irish dancing lessons, or get them ukulele lessons, or buy a banjo.
We do have a lot of instruments.
We don't have a banjo.
Not yet. Yes. But I've had to kind of learn when you bring things up, especially if you are serious and you're not brainstorming.
Yeah, there are some times where I'm like serious. I'm like, but I was like serious.
And I've learned to say, can I think about that? Or let me get back to you on that. Because sometimes I know my first reaction is not my best reaction. But I think in those moments that has felt unsupportive of you, which has hurt our connection.
Right. Oh, that's a good example.
So, I mean, I don't think this means that as spouses, we need to say yes to everything each other proposes.
No. You got to have a voice.
Right.
If your spouse is saying something that's just off the wall crazy, bring some sensibility.
Right. Or one of us might be missing some information that helps. Like I kind of keep our schedule. So if you throw out, maybe they should take this class too, I might go, well, that's a fun idea, but there's just not room in the schedule right now. Because the more we add to our schedule, I mean, that impacts our ability to connect because we're racing in different directions. All right, well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about one more way you can stay connected as you parent. All right, number 3. You ready? Practice rituals that build connection. And I actually took this one from the Prepare and Enrich website.
Ah, we've studied that, haven't we?
Yeah. And I'll include the link in the show notes. But here's what they say. Much research has shown that rituals have an overwhelmingly positive effect on marriage. They create and nurture connection, shared meaning, and a sense of stability in your bond. They act as constant relational touch points that help you stay tethered to each other and your unique identity as a couple in the midst of your busy lives.
All right. So rituals.
Yeah.
It's an interesting term. I'm thinking like holidays, like meal times, like praying before a meal. Is that a ritual?
Well,
or?
according to Prepare and Enrich,
Yes.
since I did take this from them, thank you, Prepare and Enrich, there are 6 rituals that help to create and nurture connection.
Okay.
And these can be done, as I read these, I thought these can all be done in every season of parenting.
It just might look different.
Exactly. So I thought we would mention them. And then if those of you listening want to read more details, like I said, the link will be in the show notes and you can go check out that blog post. But the first one was the goodbye reunion ritual. So kissing goodbye and then saying hello and hugging when you're reunited. I mean, this is a weird one for us because we both work from home.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're in a season where basically I'm leaving multiple times a day. So I don't kiss you goodbye every time I leave the house.
Right.
But like normally I will go to the gym in the morning.
Early in the morning.
And then once you're awake, when I get back,
Right.
I'll be like, hi, how you doing?
Uh-huh.
And we'll chat for a little bit. So that's kind of
A
our
ritual.
good morning ritual, which will actually tie into another ritual that they talk about later. I don't know if we're so good about the like reunion ritual, like being like, hey, it's so good. I'm glad you're home. It's good to see you.
We used to be better in our first years. Like I'd come home from work and the girls would run up to the door, Papa. And
Well, that's probably because you like worked outside the house all day.
I did. Now I'm just in the closet,
You're
tucking away.
Right. We can come like say hi to you
Uh-huh.
anytime. So maybe there's not really an ever goodbye. It's I don't know. It's interesting.
So is it bad that the goodbye kissing, I love you, goodbye thing, ritual, I'm thinking I'm doing this or we're doing this because I may be in a fatal car accident. And it'd be nice for the last sort of thing to be a kiss and I love you.
Well, I was listening to a podcast today and they were talking about one way they like appreciate each other and come back into the now mode is to think about the fact that we're all slowly moving towards death and our days are numbered. So maybe it's that kind of thing. I mean, I admit sometimes I'm like, oh, I got to make sure I say goodbye and kiss him because just in case.
It'd be the last time.
It's a little morbid.
It's
but
really morbid. I'm sorry I took us there.
No, I sometimes go there. So, okay, number 2. Let's get a little happy here.
Happy.
The celebration ritual. And we talked about the importance of celebrating both big and small milestones in a recent episode. And that's basically what this is all about. So if you're listening, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. You can go back and listen to the episode on, is it Why Celebrating Matters? I think that's what it's called.
Like it could be as simple as celebrating a birthday or celebrating a project completed. This isn't talking about like celebrating Christmas.
No, that's the next one.
Let's
Good
go.
segue. Yes. Okay, number 3, the holiday ritual. And this is another one about celebrating, but it focuses specifically on holidays. And what they were talking about in the blog post is it's about both spouses, like bringing in holiday traditions that they grew up with, but also creating their own. And I think when you bring in the ones you grew up with, that lets you into each other's world. But then I think it's important to kind of mesh them and figure out your own.
Mesh them.
Like, I grew up doing a Christmas Eve buffet. We do that.
And I never did.
Yeah, but what's something you grew up doing? Like, would you go cut down Christmas trees?
Oh, yeah.
See, I never did that growing up.
But we've done that.
We have done that. Yeah. And I think that if we still lived in a place where it wouldn't...
Trees.
Well, they do here, but it's so dry. I think it's a fire hazard.
We're in Arizona, the desert of Arizona.
I think we would keep doing it otherwise.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
It was fun. Like in Georgia, cutting down a tree, a little bit cold, maybe a little snow.
But I mean, something we've done, I think that is like new to our family is we do like a New Year's Eve movie marathon.
Right.
And each of our daughters picks out a movie. And sometimes they've been invited to hang out with friends that are like, no, we want to stay home and do our movie marathon.
Which is cool.
Yeah. We usually have like a theme. All right. Number 4.
And let me interject. and maybe some listeners are going to be like, you're pathetic. But I would love to celebrate some of the holidays that Jesus celebrated. I mean, if they're good enough for him, they're probably good enough for us.
Well, we've done Passover before.
We have, but I'd like to do it more regularly. So.
All right, you have to plan it.
I know I do. I know I do.
And I'm more of the planner.
No, right?
That's probably why.
It's a problem. I want to do it, but I don't. I'm bad at initiating, making it happen. But anyway, they don't need to be Christian holidays. They can be Jewish holidays. And so there you go.
4th of July.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So number 4, the daily ritual. And this was when I couldn't tell what they meant until I read the description. So here's what the post says from Prepare and Enrich. These might be mistaken for the mundane parts of marriage, but don't be fooled. They can actually be the glue that connects all the exciting ups and downs to the ho-hum parts of life as a married couple. Think of things like your perfectly coordinated execution of prepping coffee in the morning. That's not us.
That's not us.
And then sitting down to enjoy it together. Settling onto the couch for a few quiet minutes of cuddling after the kids are in bed, or brushing your teeth together every night before crawling into bed for pillow talk. While they don't seem exciting, they shape your day-to-day relationship through comforting moments that you can count on. I feel like me coming and talking to you after I get home from the gym, yes, it's a hello, but it's also kind of a daily ritual because you don't get up early and drink coffee with me.
You should bring me coffee, though. You should be like, I see you're awake at 7:30. Here's some coffee.
Would you drink it?
Yeah. We'll add that. And then we can listen to the talk radio together. No, that's not a good start today for you.
I usually do tea with lemon and...
I do. That's my thing.
Yeah. Usually if you're having coffee, I'm like, oh, he's really tired. Whereas for me, coffee is just a lifestyle.
A lifestyle. I've heard that coffee is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
In moderation, of course.
Yes, in so many ways.
Yeah. In so many ways.
Yeah. Okay, so number 5, the dating ritual. This is essentially going on date nights. And we have a couple past episodes on date nights. For those of you listening, you can go hear more of our thoughts on date night by listening to those episodes. They're how to have a date night conversation that's not about bills, schedule, or kids, and why date night matters and how to make it happen. And are you ready for their 6th one?
Yeah.
Okay. The silly ritual. And here's how they describe this one.
Okay.
Nicknames that no one else knows about. An over-the-top secret handshake when your favorite sports team gets a win.
We need to do that. We need to figure that out.
I don't have a favorite sports team.
No. The handshake. We'll work on a handshake and do it in front of the girls, and they'll be like,
They'll just think we're weird.
Well, they already do.
Right. That's true. Okay. A nonsensical phrase that originated from an inside joke years ago that means I love you. These are all examples of some lighthearted yet meaningful rituals you might share in your marriage. These are the type of rituals that only come with a sense of friendship, longevity, and knowing each other well. You can't fake them. They highlight the uniqueness of your relationship, strengthen your bond, and show affection.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some things.
Don't share nicknames online.
No.
Air.
I'm thinking of some things, and I'm not keeping them between us.
Right, because then they're our silly ritual. We've probably shared them before, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so to recap, 3 ways to stay connected as you parent are: 1, be flexible yet intentional with time together. 2, support each other's parenting strengths and ideas. And 3, practice rituals that build connection. After this break, we'll be back with this week's Us Time Challenge. It is Us Time Challenge time. Okay.
You get to pick one?
Sure. I'll share mine and then you can...
I was going to say, watch Incredibles 2 and discuss.
That's fun.
So that's a low bar of entry. You can do that.
Yeah.
But the real one
is, if you are parents, talk about what phase of parenting you are in and brainstorm ways you can stay connected. And you can use the suggestions we've offered or come up with your own. If you're not parents yet, then just start thinking about it. Okay, what are we doing now to connect? How might that translate when we have kids? Maybe even talk to people, friends who have kids, and say, okay, how are you connecting?
Right.
Because I think it's good to kind of get in that headspace ahead of time.
Right.
and come up with strategies.
And you'll be able to sort of ease from one phase to the next without making as many mistakes as maybe I have.
Or me. All right. Thank you for joining us on the Team Us podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast, and we'd love to have you leave a review over at Apple Podcasts. We're looking forward to the next time as we keep talking about how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Team Us with Ted and Ashleigh Slater is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review the podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.